this issue was for you. We were pleased to see it make it through the process. We talked with Secretary Theorides and her team about this, Lieutenant Governor, myself, and it was one of those bills that that gets to your desk that you're glad got there, and we're signing it and looking forward to pursuing the implementation associated with it. Lieutenant Governor, do you want to add to that?
I'd be happy. I think it's a great bill, and I'm happy that the legislators brought this to the forefront. For it's really important that if there is a breakout, that there is awareness and a response quickly. Is really important to address that for obvious reasons and for public health reasons. I think the other part of this that can to prevent these breakouts from happening, and that comes with and state. We have a lot of infrastructure, and it's really important that we all work together to support our municipalities and the assets that the state to maintain and replace aging infrastructure so that these outbreaks don't occur. The municipal program has been a really big success with our cities and towns. 312 of our communities have participated in the MVP, which means they're preparing and doing assessments of what their infrastructure looks like and what should be replaced. And while that is fantastic, they don't necessarily have the resources to replace it. And that's one of the reasons why the governor put forward the idea around S10, which is to create a dedicated fund for replacing aging infrastructure. And that might be something that we could collaborate on in this next term. So I think all of it is important. Looking at our infrastructure, maintaining and replacing it, culverts, underground pipes, as well as this notification and awareness system that, due to your efforts, the governor is able to sign into law and build into this program. But I just want to say congratulations to my colleagues in the legislature. Thank you to the commissioner and to Fred Lasky, RA, the Clean Water Trust, and making the investments in the MWRA infrastructure. I know has been one of the highest priorities for you as well. Turn it over to Senator Jalen or Senator DiZoglio. Happy to hear from our colleagues in the legislature.
It's all you, Senator Jalen.
To all
Senator Jalen, I think you're muted.
Oh,
is she unmuted? Okay, she's good. You're good now, Senator. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi. Thank you very much, and thanks to all the dedicated river advocates who made this happen. This last summer, we saw so many people out on our rivers, kayaking, canoeing, fishing. So many people are out that many days you couldn't get a reservation from the rental sites. They ran out of canoes and kayaks. And people really wanted to get out of their houses and enjoy the outdoors safely. They knew how that virus spread in the air, but they didn't know if danger was in the water. So we know that COVID and other viruses and bacteria are carried in sewage. And when raw sewage is discharged into our rivers, it can be dangerous. This law won't stop the discharges, but it will let people know when there's sewage in the water and help them keep safe. So thanks to you all, and thanks to you all for signing it today and making the public aware of it. Thank you.
And I will just jump on and just first and foremost say thank you, a huge thank you to Senator Jalen for her leadership in sponsoring this really, really important piece of legislation over the course of the last several years. She, alongside Rep. Provost, who I see on the call today, really were the driving forces behind the reason why this bill was able to get done. And legislators like myself were able to join forces over the last couple of years, but really it was due to the mentorship and the guidance of these two amazing women right here and the efforts that they have put in through the years. So I just do want to first and foremost commend them for their tremendous leadership on this and say thank you for your mentorship on this issue. Over the last couple of years, I know that administration has been hearing. I see Commissioner Suberg on here. I know that Secretary Theoridis has been hearing from us in recent years, along with everybody over at EEA and DCR and all of them, about the Merrimack River in particular and about CSOs in the Merrimack, the sewage discharges that residents are asking for a start just to simply be able to get notification for that. And that's really the driving force behind why our region has stepped up to the plate so much so on this issue. I am thrilled that this is occurring. It is a first step, but it is a tremendous step in the right direction. And this is something that builds upon what the legislature, along with EEA and Lieutenant Governor Polito and Governor Baker, was able to do in the Merrimack Valley. I'm going to bring it back home. Recently regarding the Greater Lawrence Sanitary District, where EEA released $1 million in funds to be able to update the infrastructure at the sanitary district so that we could make sure that we had a generator in place to make sure that those discharges were not happening. So that had already occurred due to the work of everybody here and all of the advocates. And this is something that builds upon that work. And again, we have a lot to do, but notifying the public is just one of the things that we've been able to do together. So I'm grateful to the administration, to EEA. I'm grateful to Governor Baker. I'm grateful to Lieutenant Governor Polito for being so engaged on this issue. And I do want to give a special shout out. We are Facebook Living this to the Merrimack River Watershed Council for their advocacy, to Mass Rivers Alliance for their advocacy, to all of the advocates and all of the residents who live across the Commonwealth that want clean water, want to promote public safety, public health, and protect our beautiful rivers. I want to say a huge, huge thank you. It is due to your efforts that this was able to get done. So thank you, and back to you, Governor.
Thank you, Senator. And I'm going to pass this over to Representative Linda Dean Campbell, who I see has joined us.
Good morning, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to join this morning. This has been a long time coming, but I think it's also so timely. As we know that, we can detect COVID in our wastewater. So I want to thank everyone for their leadership in getting this done, and the hundreds of advocates in our cities and towns. This was definitely bottoms up legislation, which is the best of all possible legislation. And, we had every major advocacy group here that helped push this over the line that last very intense week of our session. And I want to give a shout out to my co-sponsor, especially Senator Jalen, for her work on the other side. It was absolutely critical. And as was mentioned, Mass Rivers has been working on this in particular for years, and the Merrimack River Watershed Council in particular. But this is clearly statewide legislation. And I think there's two important aspects to this. One, that residents get direct notices on whatever device they wish to be notified on, both of the start of a CSO, but also the termination of a CSO. And that provides really important information to them personally that allows them to get back out on our waterways in a very timely manner. And I also say that this will generate some urgency on our part to work even closer with our federal partners to obtain more funding to upgrade our wastewater treatment facilities. And they've already started on this, so I think we've already had a major impact in this regard, and that will continue. And I know that similar legislation has been filed for notification at the federal level. So we're already leading the way here, and I want to thank all of you for that. Once again, Massachusetts is leading the way. And we know that, climate change is going to affect our cities and towns in a major way, every city and town. And we know that CSOs are likely to increase. But we also know that this provides for us an opportunity, which I think we're seizing now, to promote and support new technologies, which are going to promote new jobs. And so I'm just very proud to live in Massachusetts for the work that we're doing around climate change already. And I hope to work with all of you on major legislation in this regard as we move forward. And just in closing, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Madam Secretary, I would love to have you up here on the Merrimack. We'll get you, Governor, we'll get you an extra long kayak and get you out there. It's a great workout, by the way, especially as the tide's coming in. But I think that the beauty of this river really applies to all rivers across the Commonwealth, all our water bodies. It's a major part of our economy too. And I'm just so proud to live here in the Commonwealth where we're really taking the lead on this. So I look forward to working with all of you and maybe seeing all of you out on the river. Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary, I'm so thankful that to be invited today, and it's good to see you and hope to see you all soon.
Thank you, Representative. I do want to give Julie Blatt a chance from the Mass Rivers Alliance. I know how involved you've been in this.
Am I muted?
Nope, you aren't. Go right ahead.
Thank you. So good morning, Governor Baker and everyone else. This is such an honor to be here today. I'm delighted. Governor, thank you so much for supporting both the environment and public health by signing this bill. As you know, it's a very simple bill, which actually now a law. I keep saying bill, it's a law now that requires public notification when there's raw sewage in a waterway. And every year, about 3 billion gallons of raw or partially treated sewage is discharged to our state's waterways. And this bill, not surprisingly, had near universal support from legislators, municipalities, state agencies, and nonprofits. And the most common reaction I had from people when I told them about the bill over the years was, isn't that already a law? Fortunately, now it is. So now people in our state will know when it is safe to swim or fish or boat or let their pets go in the water. So I just have 3 quick points to make about this issue. And the first is that this is an environmental justice issue, as it's really generally more of a problem in urban areas such as Mystic and the Merrimack. We are really glad that Mass DEP will be requiring notices and signage in the appropriate languages in each community, so all the folks who need this information can stay safe. The second, as others have maybe mentioned, is that this is a climate resiliency issue. Older cities, as Lieutenant Governor Polito mentioned, with very old water infrastructure, combine their stormwater and their sewer collection systems. So these systems are designed to bypass treatment during storms and dump both the stormwater and the sewage directly into the nearest river, creating a public health and environmental hazard. If we don't separate these systems, this will only worsen as we experience more frequent and severe storm events in Massachusetts. Third, this is a capital investment issue. We hope that this notification requirement is just a first step, and it will raise awareness of the need to invest in and modernize our water infrastructure. We have underinvested in this infrastructure for many, many years. Water infrastructure, unfortunately, is largely invisible to the public, but when it fails catastrophically. It is time for us to come together. It is past time for us to come together to figure out how to pay for this critical need. And yes, we hope we will get help from our federal government. Finally, I'd just like to thank our many, many partners who worked with us to pass this legislation. We are so grateful to our champions in the legislature, some of who are on this call, Senator Jalen, Representative Campbell, former Representative Provo, Rep. Pignatelli and Senator Goby, former Speaker DeLeo, Senate President Spilka, Senator DeZoglio, Rep. Miklowitz, Senator Rodriguez, and many others who supported this bill and kept moving it along. Second, we appreciate the support of EOEEA and Mass DEP, who understood why this was important. Thank you to the municipal officials led by the amazing Mayor Holliday of Newburyport for hard work and persistence. And then finally, a big, big thank you to our wonderful colleagues at watershed associations and conservation groups across the state who made this happen, especially the Mystic River Watershed Association who originated this bill. The Merrimack River Watershed Council, as others have mentioned, who jumped right on it. Environment Massachusetts, Charles River Watershed Association, the Neponset River Watershed Association, and the Connecticut River Conservancy. And then last, just want to give a shout out to Mass River's policy staff, Gabby Queenan, who led this effort for several years, and Catherine Lang, who carried it over the finish line. This was a group effort. Thanks to everyone.
Thanks very much, Julie. Before I pass the baton over to Commissioner Suberg, I do want to recognize and thank former Representative Denise Provost for being with us and for being one of the original sponsors of this legislation. It's nice to see you. I hope your life has been a little less hectic than ours over the course of the past few weeks as you move on to whatever your next act may be. But thanks for joining us this morning. I know you were involved in this early, and I was glad to see several people reference you during their comments. Marty, are you there? Commissioner Suberg?
I am. Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and greetings to everybody who's here today. I appreciate the opportunity to highlight the fact that this law gives new responsibilities, work to do for Mass DEP. It requires us working with systems to develop notification, typically within 2 hours of an event, updates, thinking about the means in which we communicate to the public, calling on various means of communications. Under this law, Mass DEP is required to develop regulations to implement these requirements and to work with the systems covered by the law and methodologies so that we all share a common understanding of how to detect these events. In doing this, we'll work with permittees, we'll work with cities and towns and other municipalities that have public access points that may be affected by discharges, and looking at signage on waterways with details on where to get up-to-date information. And finally, one of the things this law requires is an up-to-date website by Mass DEP to be maintained and updated as we get information about these events. Our agency will soon commence detailed discussions with the systems, with the river advocates, with municipalities and others who are interested in the health of our rivers to design and implement the regulations and the programs. As the governor's noted and the lieutenant governor noted, the work of addressing CSOs is ongoing. We'll continue to work with our federal the communities on implementing plans for abating CSOs. We'll work with our partners in the Clean Water Trust to support financing of projects. In the past 5 years, the Clean Water Trust has addressed over $255 million in funding for CSO projects. And as noted, in the weeks ahead, we will convene stakeholder groups to start developing the regulations to make sure that everybody has input. We will develop the website and we will be transparent as we move forward. Thank you, Governor.
Lasky from the MWA and all the folks on your team for your work on this as well. We have a couple minutes left here, so Representative Provost, if you'd like to say a word or two in your retirement, feel free to go ahead and do so.
Thank you, Governor. Thanks to everybody else who is here today and worked so hard to make this bill no longer a bill, but a reality. You know, for me, this idea started with a little tour of CSOs along Alewife Brook and the Mystic River that I was taken on by members of the Mystic River Watershed Association board a few weeks after I was elected in February of 2006. And then a Somerville High School student who job shadowed me that spring looked at a map in my office and told me, pointed to the Mystic on the map and said, I row for the Somerville High School crew team. And sometimes when we're out in the river, it seems like we might be rowing through raw sewage. Is that possible? And when I told him it was possible, he asked me point blank, what are you going to do about it? So today, thanks to many people, my colleagues, Julia, Gabby, who's not here, all of you in the administration, we did something about it, and that's something to be proud of. And I'll always be grateful.
It's a great story, by the way, about the young man who was rowing out on the river. One of the things the Lieutenant Governor, and I'm sure every elected and previously elected official on this call would agree with, is we miss the being out and about part that is so, standard operating procedure in these jobs, because the opportunity to learn from and to engage with people who are part of your constituency, whatever it might be, is in some ways one of the most enjoyable, if not the most enjoyable part of the job. And I know that I and the Lieutenant Governor both feel like that's been stripped from us for the past 11 months. And I'm sure I speak for every elected official on this call, that is something we are all really looking forward to getting back to. And your comment, Representative Provost, about what you learn in those conversations with people who are part of your community is exactly why that stuff is so important to all of us. And I thank you for bringing that up. I'm not going to sign this for the second time. As we all know, it's already a law, but we felt this was important enough that it deserved a public recognition and a signing ceremony. And now it's official twice. And I want to thank all of you for being with us, and congratulations on the work that was done. And Commissioner Suberg, for you, the work is just getting started. Okay, bud? Thank you very much. You all have a good day.
Hi, everyone. Well done.
Thanks.